In this video, we're going to go over some of the terminology you'll need for this unit. So we'll start with a little bit of an ancient Greek lesson, or Greek lesson, I suppose. So you're welcome to pause the video and try to guess what these images are. We have the man from Monopoly. We've got a man wearing a monocle. If someone talks in the same voice, we call them monotone. These last might be a little bit harder. If you do an art project or a photograph with only one color, we call it monochrome. And then what do these three religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, have in common? Well, they're all monotheistic. So the word mono in each case means one. So a monocle, he has one lens. Monotone, you have one tone. Monotheism means one God. Monopoly means only one business selling a product, which is kind of the goal of the game, if you think about it. So mono in Greek means one. These ones you'll probably recognize. We got a bicycle. We have kind of an early airplane, which were called biplanes. They've got two wings. And then binary is a type of language that computers can read. And again, bi, in this case, you can probably guess means two. I've got two wheels on a bicycle. Binary is only 0 and 1. There are only two inputs. Let's look at this one again, things that you probably recognize. We've got a tricycle with a triangle, I guess a little bit cut off. And here we've got a dinosaur. What type of dinosaur is that? Well, it's a triceratops. It's got 3 horns. So the 3 words that we need to know so far are mono means 1, bi means 2, tri means 3. You can try to think of more examples from your life, and you could comment them if you want in the YouTube comments. The last one, this is a little bit of a tricky one to look at these pictures. In the top right corner, we've got a polygon. So a polygon is a shape with many sides. It could be any number of sides. This picture, I think I was going for polygamy, which is multiple wives, or polyamory, multiple relationships. So poly, multi, many. And this last picture is kind of a popular vacation spot. So again, you can try to brainstorm that, but I think it's French Polynesia. So again, that would mean many islands. So poly means many. So when we talk about polynomials, that means we have many terms. So poly meaning many. And then in particular, we're going to talk about monomials, one term, binomials, 2 terms, and trinomials, 3 terms. What is a term? A term is just anything in an algebraic expression that is multiplied together. So it's basically anything between the addition and subtraction signs. So negative 47, that's an example of a term. That's just one term, so it's a monomial. 3x squared y cubed, that's all one term. It's just all multiplied together. It's not added to anything or subtracted from something. So they're examples of monomials. 7 take away 2x is an example of a binomial. I've got 2 terms. I've got 7 and I've got negative 2x. The sign in front of the term goes with the term. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Here's another binomial, negative 5x plus 3. So my 2 terms are negative 5x and positive 3. And then finally, we've got trinomials. So these are polynomials that have 3 terms. So again, you notice that there's 3 things being added together in each of these examples. So that's kind of the first vocabulary that you'll need to know. This unit is all about working with polynomials, which is expressions with multiple terms. And we're going to think about mono, bi, and tri as we go through today's lesson. So here's an example of a trinomial. We're just again going to introduce some more vocabulary. We call the letter, or the unknown, the word that we're going to use for that is a variable. So variable, if you think about something that varies, it means something that changes. So x, because x can change, or x can be something that we don't know, we call it a variable. The numbers in front of the variables, so I've got a 3 and a 5. So those are the numbers being multiplied by the variables. We call those coefficients. So the coefficient is the number that comes before the variable. And then a constant is just a number by itself. So here we have a constant of positive 13. Constant means that it stays the same, because 13 is always 13. It doesn't change depending on x. So 5 multiplied by x, that changes depending what x is. So it's variable. 13 is constant. So if I was going to write down what is my variable in this problem, well, what letters did we use? Only x. What are the coefficients? Well, I had 3 and I had 5. And then what was my constant? Well, it was 13. There's you smiling as you think about math. Here's another example. This is another trinomial. So the variable in this one is the same. The variable is x. Variables could be any letter. There could be multiple variables in an expression, right? We could be working with a and b and c. The coefficients are the numbers in front of the variables. And remember, the sign in front of the term goes with the term. So one of my coefficients is -4. What's my other coefficient here? I don't see a number in front of the x. Well, if I don't see a number, it must be being multiplied by a 1. So if we don't see a number, then it must just be multiplied by 1, which of course is just x. So my other coefficient is 1. So if you don't see a number in front of the variable, then the coefficient would either be +1 or -1, depending on the sign. And then what's my constant? Again, the only trick here is to remember that the sign in front of the term goes with the term. So the constant is not 7. The constant is -7. So every time we see a polynomial expression, you should be able to say, okay, is that a monomial, a binomial, or a trinomial? And then you should be able to identify variables, coefficients, and constants. And that's really all the homework is about in U1A1. And we're going to keep using that vocabulary throughout this unit. So send me an email or comment on the YouTube video if you have any questions. Okay, bye for now.